Hello, everyone, and welcome to our today's Facebook Live. My name is Norma Trinidad Diaz. I am with Civic, and thank you for joining us today in this Facebook Live. Today, we are honored to be joined by Attorney Veronica Garcia, who will be presenting on today's topic about what is the current status of DACA and any updates, as well as what you should know to keep in mind on the DACA program. As you remember, DACA continues to be an impact on ongoing court case decisions and leaving families and individuals and DACA recipients with questions about their future. And so during this Facebook Live, Attorney Veronica will discuss about the latest updates as what it means for current DACA recipients, about the status of renewing and any other important informations that DACA recipients and their families should know. So please remember that the following information is just for informational and educational purposes, and you should not consider as a legal advice, as every case is very unique and very different. So we encourage you to consult a qualified immigration attorney or accredited legal representative for your specific case. We invite you to participate with your questions, comments throughout our live, and we'll do our best to address those questions during or at the end of this presentation. And so please, before we begin, we ask you to take a moment to share, like, follow Civic, and stay informed about any immigration updates, as well as community resources and upcoming immigration events that I'll be able to share with you during the last couple of minutes of the Facebook Live. So thank you all for joining us today, and it is a pleasure to be here in this live with our attorney, Veronica Garcia. So I'll let it on and pass it to you, Veronica.
Thank you, Norma, and thank you to those who are able to join us today. Like Norma mentioned, I'm here today to speak about some DACA updates. As many of you know, today is the 14th anniversary of when DACA was announced by, President Obama back in 2012. DACA has been around for a very long time and has given the ability to a lot of people who were eligible to get protection from deportation and a work permit. And though it's helped a lot of people throughout its time, we've also seen DACA be challenged a lot by different entities, right? And currently, we've seen a lot more attacks come to the DACA program and policy, and some delays that are affecting those who have DACA status. So today I'm going to go over some of the updates and what people could do to remain informed and protect themselves as they navigate these uncertain times. So just to start us off, what is happening with DACA currently, right? So as we know, DACA, or Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, is a policy that was announced, like I mentioned, 14 years ago to give protection from deportation and work authorization to individuals who met certain requirements, right? And we have seen people renew throughout these last 14 years and continue to access the policy as the policy continues to exist. Recently, we have seen that there are different attacks or different delays that are impacting those who currently have DACA. The number one thing that we have been waiting for a decision or a resolution on is the DACA court case. So for those of you who have been following the policy or the program for the past years, you know that DACA has been the subject of litigation, right? More recently since the first Trump administration, right, when it was attempted to be terminated in the courts. And then this new litigation that was brought up around the legality of the DACA rule that was announced by the Biden administration. Currently, that court case is still pending, right? So there was a decision on it, and it was sent back to the court in Texas. And while we haven't heard much movement there, it's important that people who have DACA or those who work with DACA continue to monitor any developments in the DACA court case. We should be hearing a decision, right, in the coming months and around how the implementation of that decision around DACA will come into play in the state of Texas, right? So currently, people who have DACA are able to access deferred action and work authorization. This court case is deciding how the separation of deferred action and the work permit will be implemented in the state of Texas. It should not impact other people who are living in other states, but it's important that everybody remains informed on the developments of this case to see how it will be implemented and what that means for DACA recipients who are living in Texas, and also what it means for people who might want to access DACA who have never had DACA before, right? So there's certain pieces of this case. So it's important to stay informed of that because that is impacting what's happening with DACA. The other big development or issue that we have seen, at least at the beginning of this year, ending of last year, is that there have been significant delays in the approval of DACA renewals. So prior to November of 2025, people were seeing approvals for DACA within weeks or even like 2 months, right, or a month, right? So people were renewing and getting those pretty regularly. Beginning of November, people started seeing some delays in their DACA renewals, so much now that some people have been pending or have a case pending now for about 8 months. And some of them have lost their DACA work permit and their DACA deferred action because they're still waiting for a renewal and their current DACA expired. So there are delays, right? People are still getting renewals, so it's still in existence. People are still approving. We haven't heard that many people are getting rejections or denials, right? But there are significant delays. So it's really important that people remain informed of how long USCIS is taking to renew DACAs so that they could plan when they will renew their DACA to give them enough time. So hopefully there won't be a lapse between their current DACA status and their next DACA grant. The other development that we've seen in the last year or so is that there has been an increase in DACA recipients being arrested by ICE or immigration. It's unclear exactly what is prompting people to be arrested, and it's not large numbers that we're seeing, but it's significant enough that this has come to the attention of some individuals, right? So it's important to remember that people who have DACA, the whole idea of DACA is that you get deferred action or protection from deportation. So if you do come in contact with an ICE official or an immigration official and you are arrested, it's important to let them know that you have DACA. It's important to assert your rights and to ask to be put in contact with an immigration attorney or a DOJ accredited rep who could help in your case. As long as you have DACA and your DACA has not been terminated or revoked, you are protected from deportation and you should fight your case. Lastly, on what is happening with DACA, another impact that we've seen is that this administration put pauses on certain application and benefits for certain recipients from certain countries, right? It's across the board, not just with DACA, but we are hearing some chatter that those pauses are also impacting DACA renewals. Recently, there was a court decision issued that essentially told the government that they could not pause benefits or applications for these people who were impacted by these pauses. So this means that they should start processing these applications again. If you think you are from a country that was impacted by one of these pauses, it's important that you go and you speak with a legal representative so that you could see if this will help you get a decision on your case if it's been pending for a really long time, right? Or what would be the next steps that you could take, right? So these are some of the updates, some of the things that are impacting DACA that we're seeing developments on. It's important that people stay informed of what's happening with DACA and DACA recipients, some of the actions that are being taken by the administration, so that you know what you need to be aware of, and also how you could go and ask questions about how this might impact your case individually. Just as a reminder of what the status of DACA is right now, even though we are hearing of different attacks, right, and different delays in different spaces, it's important to remember that DACA continues to be available for renewals. So if you are currently a DACA recipient and your DACA is valid, or it expired less than a year ago, you could still submit and you should get a decision from the government on your DACA, right? Those are being processed. They are taking a lot longer, right? But they are approving them. So it's important that you plan when you need to renew to ensure that you don't have a lapse in your DACA. Likewise, right, nothing has changed in who could access DACA right now and what protections you get under DACA, even though there's still that pending case in Texas. Because there hasn't been a decision in that case, nothing has changed for DACA recipients, whether they live, in Texas or in California or in New York. People who apply and get approved are still able to access the work permit and the deferred action. Advanced parole, or the travel permit that someone could apply to via DACA, is still available, but it's more important than ever that you check in with a legal service provider before you apply. There have been some changes in who's getting approved or what type of case is being approved for advanced parole. So it's really important that you check in with someone before you submit an application for advanced parole, and definitely before you travel. So that you could ensure that you have all the up-to-date information on any developments in this case or in this situation. And then lastly, like I mentioned, the court case is still pending in Texas, so it's very important that you remain informed on what develops there and what you could do or how this might impact you. For DACA renewals, like I mentioned, they're still being processed by USCIS. They are taking a bit longer, so it's important to think through when you should renew. And remember that you are eligible to renew your DACA if you currently have DACA right now, so it's valid, not expired. And you're also able to issue or to submit a renewal if your DACA is expired, but it hasn't expired for more than a year, right? So as long as it's only been expired within this last year, you are able to submit that renewal, and you should be able to get a decision from USCIS, right? So either you have DACA right now and it's going to expire in the next couple of months, you could submit and you should get a decision, or your DACA expired within the last year, you should be able to submit and get a decision on your case. If you had DACA and it's been expired for more than 1 year, right? So it expired more than a year ago. Unfortunately, you will not get a decision on your case because USCIS is treating those decisions or those cases as DACA initials, and it's stating that it cannot process DACA initials while the litigation is going, right? So those that expired more than a year ago, or those who were never approved for DACA, right? So they would be applying for DACA for the first time as an initial. Those right now are not getting decisions from USCIS. People have submitted them, but they're not getting a decision. And if you're in this group of people, right, you've never had DACA or your DACA expired more than a year ago, it's important that you go and you speak to a legal service provider before you submit your case, because you want to discuss any risks associated with submitting your application, knowing that you will not get a decision on your case for a very long time, possibly. For processing times, I mentioned that DACA is taking longer than before to get a decision, right? So they are taking longer to renew a case. Right now, people have reported it's taking anywhere between 7 to 8 months to receive a decision on their case. And we know that there's several cases pending from mid-November of 2025. So it's taking, quite some time, and some people have lost their work permit and their DACA. So it's, you all should take into consideration when you should renew to hopefully ensure that your permit remains valid. If your DACA expires in less than 6 months, it's important that you renew as soon as possible so that hopefully you could get a decision on your case. If it expires between 7 to 8 months from now, I would suggest you make an appointment to renew your DACA. I know many of you have been renewing on your own because you've been doing it for so long, but even though you are able to do that, it would be good to connect with the legal service provider just so that you could also discuss any new risks and or get information on your immigration case, and maybe potentially learn about any benefits that you might be eligible to apply for that could give you more permanent relief than DACA. Lastly, if your DACA expires in more than a year, right? So you have more than a year left on your DACA, I would suggest you speak to a legal representative before you renew. You want to make sure that you don't renew too early, since when USCIS approves your DACA, they will approve it from the day they make that decision, not from the day your current DACA expires. So if you submit it too early, you could only be getting maybe like a year or more, right? Or depending on how much earlier you submit. So you want to make sure that you Submit with enough time, but not too soon that you lose too much time on your new DACA grant, since we know they only approve it for 2 years. So it's important that you discuss that before you submit your renewal. Just as a reminder, right, in order to submit your DACA and for it to be complete, you have to do the I-821D, the I-765, and the I-765 worksheet to submit together. You have to pay the filing fee. It's a little less if you file online versus if you file via regular mail. So it's something to think about. And it's also possible that if you file online that you will get a receipt notice right away, so that you have proof that your DACA is pending, and that you're able to have record of that, right? So if you can, definitely consider submitting online so that you could do it that way. Okay, so that's the current status of DACA. Like I mentioned, in the beginning when we started, there's a lot of uncertainty. There seems to be different attacks happening to DACA recipients right now. So it's important that people are aware and that they prepare in order for them to be ready for any unexpected thing that might happen, right? So just want to end today by talking about some action steps that you could take to protect yourself and your family as you're navigating these times. The number one thing that we're always going to suggest is that you talk to a legal service provider and get information about your own case, and also get an immigration consultation. We know that many people have gotten one in the past, but if you haven't gotten one in more than a year, I think it's so important to go and do it again. Just like you go to the doctor every year, you should get an immigration consultation every year. Things might have changed. Maybe there's a new form of relief, right? Maybe something changed in your own life that might make you eligible for some sort of immigration relief. So it's important to go and talk to that legal service provider so that you understand if there's anything you could apply for, if you understand any new risks that might be associated with your case. Or also just to stay informed about what's happening, right? Things are developing so quickly these days. We want to make sure we stay informed. The other thing that's important to do right now is to learn and stay informed about your own immigration case, as we're seeing different movements, right, and different decisions and different policies be implemented by the Trump administration. It's possible that something that might have had no movement in the past now has movement, or maybe it's possible that if someone had a case in immigration court that was closed because they got DACA, could have been reopened because of a new policy this administration might have, right? So it's important that people stay informed, right? So learn about how did you enter the United States, right? Who did you come with? Learn about whether you have been before immigration court or whether your parents have been before immigration court, so that you know what exactly exists in your case, and that could help you learn about any risks or any benefits that you might have because of your own immigration history. And also to make sure that you are staying informed and getting all the notifications that the administration or the government might be sending to you, right? So that you don't miss anything, right? Because we want to stay on top of what's happening in our own cases. We want to learn about what's happening in our own cases so that we know how to respond, and make sure that we don't miss any appointments or any upcoming events that might have happened. The last thing is to make sure that you have a family preparedness plan, right? It's really important to put together all your important documents, make sure that people know what you want to happen in your case in case you are arrested, in case you're not there and can't take care of your own case. You want to make sure that people know what you desire so that your wishes could be honored, right? So we think about family preparedness plan mostly in a child care type of way, right? Create a child care plan, which is definitely needed, right, if you have children. But it could also be really beneficial to someone even if they don't have children, right? Because it's a place to put together all your immigration documents, all your important documents, right? And something that someone could easily access if you're not there. So remember to stay informed, remember to plan, so that people know how you want to be helped if anything happens, right? So I'll leave it there with the action steps, and I'll pass it over to Norma to talk about some of the upcoming events where people could access information. Norma, I think you're muted.
Yes, I am. Thank you. Thank you, Attorney Veronica. Thank you all for being present. I will go ahead and share my screen. So You guys can check a look at what we're sharing, the calendar invites that we have. As Attorney Veronica mentioned, we do have immigration workshops scheduled throughout the Central Valley. And so we want to make sure that you're informed about those events and how you are able to join in, not only to come and renew your DACA, but also come in and speak to an immigration attorney. As Attorney Veronica mentioned, it is important that you know your immigration status. That way you can know what actions to take and what steps you need to follow. So one of our events that we're hosting will be in Avenal, which will be taking place this Wednesday, June 17th, from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. at Veterans Memorial Hall, located at 108 West Keene Street, Avenal, California, 93204. Within the immigration workshop, we encourage you to give us a call and schedule an appointment. If not, then you're able to come in as walk-ins. We'll be able to assist you related to citizenship for those that are legal permanent resident, want to become also, if you already have a legal permanent resident and want to become a U.S. citizen, we'll go ahead and do the evaluation for you, as well as those that need to renew their DACA. We will be supporting those that help to renew their green card, as well as the important part of the workshop is a consultation with the immigration attorney. We'll be providing information on Know Your Rights, the red card. So you are interested in attending, welcome to do so. You can give us a call and schedule an appointment. If not, walk-ins available. And this is, once again, we're taking this event. Workshop will be take place on Wednesday, June 17th, from 4 to 7 p.m. For the next week, we're going to be in Farmersville, and that's taking place on Monday, June 22nd, from 4 to 7 p.m. at our local apartment, Arroyos, located on 135 East Walnut Avenue, Farmersville, California. We're going to be assisting with evaluation with citizenship, DACA renewals, coming in for a consultation, welcome to come in, and then renewal of the green card. And so that's going to be in Farmersville on Monday, June 22nd, from 4 to 7 p.m. Welcome to call us, give us a call. We'll schedule an appointment for you. If not, walk-ins are open. And then following the same week, on June 25th, we're going to be in Orosi, and that's located, and we're going to be in collaboration with Cutler and Orosi Family Educational Center, located on 40802 Road 128 in Orosi, California, 93647, where we're going to be able to help you with your DACA renewal, as well as providing you with consultations with immigration attorneys. Same at 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. in Orosi on Thursday, June 25th, with or without appointment. And going on to July, we're the first week of July, we're going to be hosting on Wednesday, July 1st, at 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. at the MCC Global Center. They're one of our partner organizations that help us do the immigration workshop, as well as helping us to support and assist clients coming in. And that's going to be in Ridley, California on 1012 G Street, Ridley, California, 93652. And you're welcome to show up with or without appointment. We encourage you to call in and schedule an appointment. And so as you can see, we do have a couple events coming up from this week up to the first week of July, and we also have other events going on in Merced as well. And so just give us a call to schedule an appointment. If you don't see your city nearby, give us a call. We'll give you dates that we have already confirmed within for June, July, and August. So the best way that you can know is follow us on Facebook, as well as visit our website on Valle Central I'll go ahead and share this information down in the chat so you can visit the calendar and know where Civic is going to be present hosting the immigration workshops. Currently, right now, we don't have any questions related to attorneys. And so I think we can let it off from here, Attorney Veronica, letting our community know that there is events that you can come in, get the legal advice that you need, be cautious of immigration fraud that's going on within a community. And so just connect with partner organizations as well as legal organizations to support you in your immigration case. Any last words, Attorney Veronica?
Just, once again, reminding the community that if they haven't made that connection with an attorney, they should. Please take advantage of some of these free workshops, right, where you could get a consultation and learn more about your case. Like I said, things are moving really rapidly, so we want to make sure we remain informed and that we know what is happening within our own cases and also how different policies could impact us. So please stay informed. Follow trusted services like Civic, right? And Civic has a list of organizations that are also trusted, right? Where you could go and see and get an appointment, right? So make sure you only go to trusted services. There is a lot of immigration fraud, unfortunately, in the Central Valley. So you want to make sure that any service that you are looking to get, that you do it from an organization that is trusted and that you do it either from an immigration attorney or an accredited representative by the Department of Justice that works for an organization that's also accredited, right? So Norman right now is showing the directory that they have. All those are trusted organizations where you could go and make an appointment for what you need.
Thank you, Attorney Veronica. Yes, so I'm going to go ahead and post in the chat the website for everyone to get access to the directory of immigration services here in the Central Valley. Give them a call. If not, the best way is assisting one of the workshop events with or without appointments, or downloading the directory of immigration services and then contacting individually the organization to see if they're able to assist you with your immigration services. The best way you can do so is connect with one of them, talk to a organization, come join us at an immigration event. If you want to come into the immigration workshop and just get a contact, you can also do that. Or you want to pick up a directory, you can do so. Just give us a call and we'll be able to assist you throughout our services. Just leaving our direct line to our immigration services. So we'll be happy to assist our community for any of their services. Currently, we don't have any questions for our community, Attorney Veronica. And so we're just gonna go ahead and end the live now, unless you have any comments, additional comments for our community.
No additional comments.
Thank you, everyone. We're happy to join you all here in our Facebook Live. Please stay connected within our social media. Share, like, and follow us throughout our social media platform to receive additional information about immigration updates, DACA renewals, as well as our immigration workshop. So see you in the next Facebook Live.